What's up, y'all? Nice Edge here again, doing another quick little review. Got a really cool review today. Been looking forward to this one for a while. Before I get into it, go ahead and put the channel information out there. Channel you're watching, the Knight's Edge, the underscore Knights underscore Edge at YouTube. If you can, like the video. If you like the content, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. All the subscribers. Everybody that subscribes helps the channel out and helps me out to reaching what right now my goal is 1,000. Before it was 500, and thanks to you guys, I kind of broke through that. It's just blown me away, all the support and all the help and everything I've gotten from everyone in the community. So appreciate all y'all. All my info is linked down below if you want to check it out. So today, what we got is a Spyderco Paramilitary 2 salt version. This is the Magnacut, the one with the Magnacut blade, which is a pretty stainless steel. We're going to go over that here in a minute for anybody that doesn't know what Magnacut is or is curious about it or whatever. I'll give you my kind of limited knowledge and perspective on it anyway. So before we start it, I'll go ahead and do some overall measurements. Tape measure. All right, overall, from the tip of the blade all the way to the end of the handle, you're looking at right at 8 1/4 inch. Cutting edge, you're looking at right, let's see, cutting edge, right at 3 1/4 on the cutting edge. Total blade length, right at 3 5/8. You got a pretty generous forward finger choil right there. Go ahead and get the calipers out, do a measurement on the blade stock thickness and everything. So, thickest part of the spine here, 125 thousandths. That's what I'm getting, right around 125 thousandths. That's on the thickest part of the spine. It's a full flat grind on this one, just as any or most paramilitary 2s, unless you got like the Tonto version or something. And on the belly, behind the edge, you're sitting right at 23.5 thousandths there, closer up towards the tip. I'm getting 25 thousandths. Let's see. At 30 thousandths. 29.5 thousandths. So it's kind of varies a little bit, but not too much. Before I put this up, and one thing I always forget to do before I put the calipers up anyway, handle thickness. You're looking at 0.44 of an inch, so not too skinny, not too fat, in my opinion. Pretty much just right on the handle thickness there. Go ahead and do some size comparisons here. That is the 8010 cold steel. Demco knives, 80-20.5, so more along the lines of the size of the cold steel anyway. I don't know why the camera keeps blurring out there. Definitely not as thick as the cold steel knife by any means. I mean, this is a totally different knife than the cold steel, but in overall length, you're closer to the cold steel than you are to the Demco. All right, size comparisons. We got the Rat Model 1. All right, pretty close to the same overall length. QSP Penguin. Definitely more along the lines of the size of the Rat Model 1 than the Penguin. Spyderco Paramilitary 2. Same size, right? Same knife. Spyderco Para 3. As usual, you know, the Para 3 is kind of like the dialed down version, the skinnier version of the Spyderco Paramilitary 2. I've done reviews of both of those before, so it's kind of redundant doing size comparisons, I guess. One more, I guess. We'll go ahead and just for people that don't know the Paramilitary 2, somebody that's been living under a rock the last few years, or somebody that's just now getting into, the EDC community or whatever. That's the Spyderco Shaman. All right, so did the size comparisons. We'll go ahead and do the weigh-in here. Get the scale out. Now I'll weigh in the Paramilitary 2. This is the one. This is the S45N one that I got with the Flytanium Lotus scales on it. 4.9 ounces on that one. Now, granted, you do have the aftermarket scales. It is heavier. So this one, 3.8, 3.7, 3.7. About what, a little over an ounce lighter. Just a little over the recommended blade to weight, ounce to inch ratio, I guess, but not much. Not really bothersome at all. This actually feels pretty lightweight to me. Didn't really notice it at all in the pocket carrying it today and the last couple of days in work pants and stuff. If you're wearing blue jeans or whatever, it kind of disappears really nice in there. That G10's that's more like a grip pattern than it is milling or something like that. But I guess that does contribute a little bit to the weight reduction. I really like that radial outward wave pattern, whatever you call that. It goes from the center in opposite ways, texture going out. Feels really nice in the hand. A lot better than just like the standard Spyderco G10. So I really think, ergonomically, I went over a lot of my feelings on the Paramilitary 2 in the first review of it. This one, the original Paramilitary 2 review that I did. This new version of it, what it adds to the Paramilitary family, or I guess the Spyderco family, but what it adds to the model itself, to me is really good, because it turns the Paramilitary 2 into kind of like a knife that you can more or less carry a little more in like more humid environments, or if you're out on the on the beach or something like around salt water. The Magnacut steel is steel invented within the last couple of years by Dr. Larry Thomas. He does Knife Steel Nerds if you want to check him out on YouTube. But Magnacut's a really good steel. It's a really good balance on the multi-directional teeter-totter of what you're trying to get out of a knife as far as steels go. So as far as pocket knives go, or as far as any knife goes, any steel, you've got edge retention, you've got corrosion resistance, and you've got hardness or toughness. And you take away from one, essentially you're adding to the other. If you add to the other, you're taking away from one. So Magnacut was a steel invented to kind of be a great balance between all those main factors of knife steel. So it is a really good steel, especially if it's heat treated right. And in my experience, a lot of people said different things, but in my experience, Spyderco heat treats their steel really, really good, especially for like a large production company. Every knife steel I've had from Spyderco that I've had in another knife, the Spyderco has outperformed the other knife, and that's including Hogue, another USA company. That's including Benchmade, all the way to Chinese makers, Chinese knives. The Spyderco's Magnacut has outperformed those, in my experience, every single time. Everybody's experience varies, and every heat treat varies, right? Every batch of knives varies. If they're still making this a year from now, that batch might be heat treated a little different or whatever. I doubt it's far off at all. I don't have an HRC tester. I can't figure out Rockwell hardness on knives, but as far as Spyderco goes, they seem to be pretty consistent. Now, I will say, and I don't know if it's the DLC coating. This is DLC coated, by the way. That's a diamond light carbide, I believe, is what it stands for. I don't think it's diamond light coating. I think it's diamond light carbide. It's actually a it's not just paint. It's a coating that helps resist scratches, and also does help with corrosion resistance. But it's a really hard, super hard coating, so I don't know if that contributes to it or what. From everything I've heard, a coating will reduce HRC. A coating's bad for HRC in a knife, just from what I've seen and on YouTube, what I've read, what I've heard. But in my experience, and I don't know if it's because the other was made before this one, but let me get it out. This one, the Native 5, this is the other Spyderco I have in Magnacut. The Native 5 in Magnacut actually dulled up a little quicker than the PM2. Now, this one I've had for about a week now, I guess. Yeah, probably about a week. I've carried it every single minute of every single day that I've had it, except for when I'm sleeping, and I've cut rope with it. I have cut rubber with it. I've cut, paper cut test stuff, just cardboard, stuff like that. I haven't like severe cut tested it or anything, but I have used the heck out of it for the first few days of having it. I went out of my way to cut stuff just because I've got this in the pocket. And I can tell you, it is not really dulled up. Let me get some paper out here. Go ahead and see if I can actually do this under the camera. It hasn't really dulled up that much at all. Kind of snagged the choil on that one. But, yeah, I mean, it's still, even after using the heck out of it the last 4 or 5 days or so, it's doing really good. A lot of steels at this point would, from what I've cut with it, would be I'm not saying they'd be dull, but you could definitely hit some snags and stuff cutting through paper with it. And another thing that stood out about this one to me versus some even other Spydercos I've gotten is the bevel on this thing was really steep. So it looks like they put it at like almost like a 17-inch edge bevel, which is awesome. I wish all companies would do that with knives. 17, 18 degree edge bevel is like perfect to me. So what you're looking at with a lot of companies with knives out the box. Let's see if I can find one here that I haven't sharpened. Yeah, this one. It's a pretty decent example, I guess. This is it's the Kaiser Megatherium, but in layman's terms, somebody that doesn't really do knives or not familiar with edges or whatever, what you're looking at, you don't really see that much of the edge, right? So when you look at this, look how much more visible edge you got. That's because when they sharpen this, it's at a steeper angle, or it's at a less I don't know, I guess it depends on how you look at it. It's at a lower angle, so that helps a lot with sliciness. And if you got a really good steel, that edge will last even with that steeper angle. And then this thing is like sticky sharp. It came super sharp out of the factory. This is probably one of the best factory bevels I've gotten on a knife. And it has lasted really good so far. I definitely intend to cut until it's dulled up and then put my own edge on it, but it really surprised the heck out of me on that edge from the factory. But anyway, so yeah, I went over the coating, the handle, G10, really nice pattern to it. The lock, this is a compression lock, which is my favorite locking system. So instead of a liner lock, where it's like a normal knife, or not a normal knife, but traditional liner lock, you open it. To close it, you got to push that over, right, and close the blade. So whenever you do that, you're putting your thumb kind of in the cutting path, you know, which with this one's not really that big of a danger, but, you know, I mean, if you're not paying attention, you can do, it does have the potential to snag your thumb, you know. So with the compression lock, when you've got it like that and you go to close it, you pinch it up here, you pinch that close, and when you do that, it closes. So you don't have a finger or a thumb in the cutting path. A lot easier for one-handed lock manipulation, one-handed open and closing. So anyway, we went over the steel, went over the handle material, went over all the specs. Well, except for the hardware check, I guess I could do that, which did it in the other paramilitary review, but I'll go ahead and do this to refresh y'all's memory. That's a T10 on the pivot. This is a T8. Yep, T8. So all the body screws are T8. The pivot, well, your two body screws that you got going on there are T8. The pivot's a T10. Pocket clip screws are T6. I did a video on that earlier in the week on swapping that clip around. I actually swapped it around again, changed it out to this one. This is a Lynch Northwest clip that I had on another knife. I kind of thought that really dull oil sheen kind of matched up with the blacked out hardware and blade and everything with this. You know, it's not reflective, so I thought it was the best clip that I had to kind of match up with it. I do intend to get a blacked out clip, but I didn't think that one looked too bad. So that is a Lynch Northwest deep carry clip, and I'll link that down below also. So anyway, I can't think of anything else I can go over with this thing. I went over all the changes with it that makes it assault. That's how it disappears in the pocket with that Lynch clip on it. Put the blue jeans up. Blacked out hardware. All the hardware is blacked out. That's stainless right there. That's the only thing that will stop. But everything else is blacked out in it, except for the Spyderco logo and the etching on the blade. So yeah, I mean, great action on it. The action's really good. I think second to none. I mean, this thing's fidgety, you know, as heck. You know, you can middle finger flick it, thumb flip it open, you know, index finger. I mean, however you're used to opening a knife, you can open it like that. Slow roll it, you know. The opening deployment methods are limitless, you know, for this. This is a fidget dream. You know, you can squeeze the compression lock and open it like that, you know. I prefer to just, you know, this has kind of become my natural, not even trying to like show off or anything like that or be fancy, but naturally when I go to open a knife, if it's got an opening hole, then, you know, that's how I go to open it. So anyway, if you don't have a paramilitary tool and you're thinking about getting one, I would highly recommend this one. You know, to me, this is it's a great steel, heat treated by a great company. Ambidextrous pocket clip, you know, left, right, tip up, tip down carry. Also didn't mention that, but great, some excellent ergonomics. You know, the awkward hump that's up here that kind of makes it unsightly to a lot of people with that leaf-shaped blade. That helps with your leverage with your thumb, right? So that's also got a purpose. Just everything about this knife to me is awesome, you know. Also, what else? Mentions made in the USA, Golden, Colorado, USA, on the planet that you're sitting on right now, Earth, right? These little marks on here, that's Sal Glusser, that's Eric Glusser. That's the founder of the company, and that's the current owner of the company, or CEO, president, whatever. Sal kind of gave it over to Eric. They co-designed this knife. This knife's, I believe, 14 years old. The original paramilitary, I think. I don't know. Maybe older than that. I'm not sure. But it's been around for a long time in all kinds of different versions and handles and steels and everything. But from what I've experienced, this one is awesome. Really great knife. I got this one on Smoky Mountain Knife Works. I'll link the Smoky Mountain Knife Works down below also. Appreciate you guys watching another rambling Knight's Edge review of a knife that I reviewed actually not too long ago, the Spyderco Paramilitary 2. But the changes I thought were noteworthy, and definitely good to do another review on it. You know, this is something that's almost corrosion proof. You know, it's running on bronze washers, phosphor bronze washers. You got a Magnacut blade that's already, you know, Magnacut is a relatively stainless steel, almost totally stainless steel. And on top of the Magnacut, you've got a DLC coating, which also helps. And plus, it, you know, I mean, it looks really cool to me. You know, I mean, this is a really neat looking knife. So, yeah, that's all I got to say about it, I guess. Can't think of anything else. Spyderco Paramilitary 2 Salt and the Magnacut, blacked out. Go look them up on Smoky Mountain Knife Works if you're curious about it. And they sell them on other sites too, but that's the one I got this one from. And that's the one I'm going to link down below. So if you're not subscribed to the channel already and you've somehow made it through this entire video not subscribed to the channel, I really could use you. Subscribe to the channel. Every watch minute helps, and obviously if you're still listening to this, hey, you're helping out a lot. So appreciate everybody watching, appreciate everybody listening to me ramble on about knives. It means a lot. I got all my contact information down below if anybody wants to get a hold of me. And until the next one, guys, y'all have a good day, good evening, and I'll see you then.